Right from the start, she goes straight for the emotional angle, but notice how she's avoiding the actual issue, paying rent. Judges hear this tactic all the time, and it never replaces proof.
Why?
I'm not the problem.
Here we go, shifting blame 101. Whenever a tenant starts listing every problem except the unpaid rent, judges immediately recognize the pattern.
Has to move.
She wants to continue living there, I guess, for free, and she should.
I'm not trying to stop anything.
Stop. It's his turn to talk.
Today we've got an entitled defendant who
Quick question for you watching: if someone truly paid thousands in rent, why does the proof always show up as screenshots the court can't even read?
She's waving around papers like they're ancient scrolls that will magically unlock the truth if the judge just stares long enough. Meanwhile, she doesn't want to pay her rent, doesn't want to move, doesn't want to follow procedure. She just wants the universe to hand her free housing like a complimentary gift bag. The judge is already squinting.
Important note: in eviction hearings, judges rely heavily on sworn testimony and documented payments. Random papers handed in minutes before court carry almost zero weight.
So the real question is, will she accept reality today or try to invent a whole new one? Let's go ahead and dive in.
This is a demand for non-payment of rent, not termination of tenancy. I found that the amount owed was $2,752.69, $169.84, and cost for a total of $2,922.53, I think it is. As I indicated, it is a non-payment of rent case, and it allows removal of the trailer. The defendant has filed a bunch of stuff, not paid the motion fee, and asked me to stay these proceedings. The defendant has raised a number of issues here that I don't think were raised before. Ms. Early, what are you asking me to do?
Well, their math isn't mathing. I did make 2 payments that I was ultimately told by them that did not go through, but they did go through my bank. So I ended up paying them, and I don't have the paper in front of me, so I don't have the exact figure. It was over $2,000 some, which leaves me a credit of $100 for the month of November. And there's in their system, when I sign on, it even shows that, and it shows that I made the payments also. I did include some of my bank statements also. There's a lot in there, and I'm sorry, I try to keep it minimal.
We took testimony under oath. Ms. DeCenzo is here, and the manager, Jessica, is also here, Jeshua. Ms. DeCenzo's testimony was no payment had been received, I believe, since June. But I don't believe that you made several $1,000s worth of payments that you weren't credited
Their
for.
records even show it, like the bills that they dropped off on my door, and they didn't apply the accounts to my account. And the thing that's really disturbing to me is I tried to get a hold of Ms. DeCenzo yesterday. I think I missed her call. I have 2 portals that I can log into. One of them shows that I didn't pay, and the other one shows that I have paid. Now, why I have 2 different portals from them, I have no idea why, but they're completely different login information. She did have me set up a new account. I think it was in August when I did pay. I paid August 8th, and I think it was 14th possibly.
Your Honor, if I may, we're covering old ground here.
Yes.
This was argued on the 14th. As was noted on the 14th, there were 2 payments that were made and returned NSF. And you noted that as you calculated the amount due. As far as today is concerned, obviously I didn't have an opportunity to get a response in, and I haven't seen whatever was dropped off this morning.
Neither have I. It's a big pile of stuff that has been handed to me about 2 minutes ago.
So what I would say is, firstly, if there's a motion for stay, it should have been accompanied by 1 month's rent as a bond. If there was no filing fee paid for the motion, I'm guessing there was no month's rent deposited with the court. I would also indicate that what this seems to me, at least in part, would be a motion for reconsideration. And for that, the tenant defendant would have to show that there was a palpable error on the part of the court. And looking at what was sent by email, I did not see any kind of palpable error. She argues that she was somehow entitled to a public defender or legal aid to represent her. And I think we've established that certainly was not going to happen. In addition, she's making the same argument, it sounds like this afternoon, that she argued on the 14th. I would indicate to the court that at the time that the court entered the judgment and noted the payment deadline of the 24th, it indicated that it was not likely to sign any kind of order of eviction until probably December 1st, just because of the way the holiday broke.
Who would have guessed it? Yet another tenant claiming they paid rent and the landlord is still just out to get them because landlords apparently have nothing better to do than sabotage paying tenants. The worst excuse in these hearings is always the same. I did pay, they're just lying. If you stop and think about
Exactly, landlords don't evict paying tenants. It costs them money to replace one. This is why these I paid but their lying claims almost always fall apart.
why everyone's sitting here relitigating something that should have already been solved with a simple bank receipt, and now she's trying to file motions by emailing random PDFs to the court like it's customer service for a lost password. That's not how motions work. There are fees, procedures, timestamps, and actual rules you have to follow. She's ignoring every single one of them like they're optional side quests. It's almost like she watched a 10-minute YouTube crash course in legal terms to drop in court to sound smart, and decided that she was ready to represent herself. The judge isn't falling for any of this, and honestly, neither is anyone watching. At this point, it's not a legal argument, it's a freestyle performance of something that never happened.
And in fact, with this motion having been filed, we have not yet submitted the order of eviction to the court. We're prepared to send it in as early as today, but the court's not going to get it or look at it until after the weekend. So there is still time for Ms. Zierle to move without having an extra month's rent added to her tab. I think the court handled everything properly on the 14th. It took extensive testimony from Ms. Zierle. It evaluated it. It credited her for some money that had been assessed because it felt that the late fees were too high. Therefore, the judgment amount was less than the amount that was showing on my client's ledger. And I see no basis at this time to revisit anything that the court did on the 14th.
May I speak?
Yes.
But you haven't seen what I have, and neither has he. I don't feel that I had another person to back me up as I needed, and I felt like I got railroaded. And I feel like what I do have needs to be looked at, and it needs to be considered no matter what was decided on the 14th. I did state when we first started that I filed that I needed some help because of an ADA accommodation, and that was under oath. And
I looked for that. I couldn't find it, but let me,
at that point.
this is a matter of paying your rent or not paying your rent.
Yes.
It's not an ADA. They're not terminating your tenancy for just cause. There are certainly accommodations we make for people with.
I just needed help speaking for
right.
myself.
Okay. I'll concede that. We had 2 hearings, lengthy. I blocked out a bunch of time. I knew it was going to take a long time. Then immediately after you file all this stuff, like throwing spaghetti at a wall to see what will stick. You didn't pay a filing fee. You didn't file it properly. You just emailed it to the court. Now, you're not a lawyer. So this morning, like an hour before the hearing, you drop off all this stuff. It's your contention. You're not under oath. And I said, I don't believe you, but you're not under oath, that you've paid all the delinquent rent and you should actually have a credit.
It shows on the paper,
All right.
paperwork.
Show me in here, you find it, show me where it says you paid your rent.
Well, you look at these too. There's credits up there. They were never applied to my account. They just keep showing up and showing up and showing up. And here's the bank statements. And this is showing, it shows up like this when they've received a payment. And it's showing that I have a credit of $100 and some as of now. Even when I log in, like it won't let me even pay anything if I wanted to online. But I circled a bunch of things for Christy and I sent them back to her and I was like,
This is the contradiction that seals the case. If your home is unsafe, unfair, and unlivable, why are you fighting to stay? The judge sees this instantly.
Under any account since June. And I agreed with that. I substantially reduced the amount they were asking for by reducing late fees and some other things that were unclear. And I came up with that number after taking testimony. The way the trial works is you don't come in 4 days later and say, well, here's all the evidence I should have had at the trial. Plus, I can't make head or tail of it.
I entrusted Meg
All right,
to,
so they want you to move your trailer, and I suspect you've done absolutely nothing to move your trailer. So what you want them to do is take your money and let you stay there.
I can't go anywhere. I'm halfway dead as we speak.
I don't believe they do have your money. And I would need someone from the bank to testify, not just some papers that are printed off a screenshot.
I didn't pay because I knew it would come to court. I didn't pay for 2 months and then I ended up paying. And she told me she hadn't received my payment. And then she did get my payment and it shows. And it's even on all the bills they put on my door that they received that money. But then all of a sudden they come up with all this money that they need me to pay. And if you look at all the paperwork, you'll see where they just.
I don't see it. I see where it's so small, I can't read it. It's a screenshot from something.
It's from their account. Where I log in online.
I can't even read it. You're asking me to do a number of things. You're asking me to stay the proceedings because your contention is we haven't seen this evidence that establishes that you've paid the rent. We took testimony that you haven't paid the rent. In fairness to Mr. Landman and Ms. DeCenzo, they haven't seen any of this stuff that you laid on me at 11:45 this morning. And so I can't tell what it shows. I suspect when Ms. DeCenzo goes through it, she's not going to change her current opinion.
She's not.
All right, so let's see. Who should we believe? The landlord who's under oath giving clear testimony, or the defendant who brought in 1 billion loose documents claiming the proof is somewhere in there? Come on, be serious. The judge doesn't buy it for even half a second. I don't buy it, you don't buy it, nobody buys it except for her. And that's a special level of self-confidence that borders on delusion. She might as well have printed random bank statements off of Google Images because that's about how credible they look. And then there are these motions she allegedly filed without paying a single filing fee, which is the legal equivalent of trying to use monopoly money at the DMV. She definitely Googled motions to file an eviction case and hit print on every result. And now she's shocked that the court hasn't treated these unfiled documents like gospel. The real comedy here is that they already had a prior hearing where she could have provided all of this but chose not to. Now she's suddenly prepared, suddenly organized, and suddenly full of evidence that magically appeared overnight. At this point, she's burning everyone's time like it's her full-time job.
That you owe the money. The point of fact, they didn't do it as a just cause termination. It would have been a lot easier if they had. I mentioned that last week, and there's no reason to beat a dead horse. And he's right. Nothing's going to happen until after December 1st. We've never actually, I haven't seen one of these that's been executed. Let's say they hire a company, Kramer Trailer Moving Services. They come up, they disconnect your gas, your electricity, your water, and then they pull the trailer off your lot. I don't know what they do then.
I've tried
Take it to Walmart parking lot and park it?
I tried to get help to move because I don't want to be there because of the things that.
Well, that's the other stuff. You told me what a terrible place this was and how much you hate being there and
But
you're
I'm already
unsafe,
half
you've been
dead. I don't
assaulted.
see any point in trying to move right now. I don't know how much longer I have.
Well, none of us do. Anyway, I haven't signed any eviction order. Oh, you came in at 12:50, not 11:50. You came in at 10 minutes before the hearing and laid all this paperwork on us. I did set this on short notice because I wanted to deal with it.
In all fairness, Meg had this on the 7th and I thought she.
Meg is not going to be representing you. She indicated that she was not going to be able to establish an attorney-client relationship and they would not be representing you. And she wasn't here at the hearing. They don't get court-appointed counsel for civil matters, but nothing is going to happen imminently. Ms. DeCenzo, I don't know if you guys have contacted a company and I don't know what they're going to do. You're doing nothing. You're doing nothing.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
You're supposed to find some place to move your trailer to. You hate it there. You don't like them. You feel they're unfair. You believe you were assaulted in your own home. And you'd like to move, but you haven't done anything to find out about moving.
No, I haven't. I don't have the energy to move. I don't have the energy in me to fight anymore. Okay?
Well, the money that you claim that you paid, which they contend you have not, could be used to pay for the move of your trailer.
Yeah, it could. I've tried to get the county to help me move it after what's happened to me. And
Well,
they've heard of no such thing.
That I've never heard of the county paying.
So they want me to move no matter what.
Well, ostensibly, yes, they do.
Well, She has called me several times and tried to get me to sell it before we even came to court.
Now that in the other ones, there's an option. You have 90 days to move